So that loud noise, it's how I'm going to edit these and put them together. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't give a shit.
All right.
In 3,
2, and 1. Welcome to the very first episode of $2 Steak. I'm your host, Aaron Varnam. This is going to be a podcast about professional wrestling, not just professional wrestling. We're going to kind of talk about things that maybe super fans don't get into. Super fans are all up in the minutia of a professional wrestling match. They're getting into the holds and the how many stars a match gets. We're taking a layman's approach to professional wrestling. Wrestling is a very pure and fun sport, if you call it that, but I think that if you take it more at face value, and it can be a very entertaining thing to watch. I am joined by 3 of my best friends, and it is all walks of life in the road of professional wrestling, all different areas of fandom here. And we are represented by one, Tolbert.
How you doing?
Cookie.
What goes on, people?
And Mike.
How's it going?
Guys, I think this is going to be an interesting podcast from 3 dudes weighing in tonight at probably 650 pounds on this one couch. We have got basically the whole front line of a rugby scrum. And we're here to talk about professional wrestling.
Yes, we are.
Indeed.
Boys, tell me a little bit about why wrestling? What got you into professional wrestling? Tolbert, you're the elder statesman here in our group. What got you into professional wrestling?
I mean, honestly, man, I can't remember a time where I was not watching wrestling. I was telling you the other day how my earliest memories were sitting on the floor at my grandparents' house in front of their huge floor model TV with the old school stadium matches, you know, with the shitty block lettering and the old school commentary, you know, the shots of the crowd and all the old school guys. So I have vivid memories of that, and it's just always been there.
The crowd's always had that one grandma in the
always like shaking her fist, standing on her chair, especially when Vader came out.
Vader was the worst. Grandmas hated Vader.
But I remember the old school guys like Sergeant Slaughter, you know, and Big Boss Man, of course. Hulkamania was going on. You know, I was probably about 2 or 3 years old. But those are my earliest, fondest memories of wrestling. It was awesome.
Now, Cookie, you're a little bit younger than the rest of us. You're not too much younger, but you are a couple years younger. So you were kind of weaned during the Attitude Era of professional wrestling. What was it like your first memories of wrestling?
You know, it's funny. My first memory that I can recall the pay-per-view as well. In your house, Rock Bottom. Ooh! So it was the Rock's special, his pay-per-view. I don't remember the main event at all, but what I can remember is a little tag team known as the Headbangers going up against the New Age Outlaws. And seeing that for the first time as a kid, like that being my first match to watch, and you see Billy Gunn and Road Dogg come down, they do their whole shtick with the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all that stuff. It was just like compelling. Like everything about it was just like, oh my God, I love this. And you just a complete opposite. These 2 bald-headed guys with skirts on. Saying that skirts are cool and stuff like that, and it's just like, what? Like it was a complete shock, a culture shock almost for me, and I loved it, and I was drawn in from there.
Yeah, they had that punk rock gimmick that they were a couple skinhead punks, and it was just a very different style of professional wrestling for those guys, and after that gimmick was actually pretty popular.
Yeah.
And then when they try to repackage them as single stars, it didn't really get over as much as they wanted it to. There was one, I think, that was called Beaver Cleavage.
Yes.
And it was pretty bad.
That was mosh.
That was mosh. And now finally we've got Mike. Mike is a little new to the world of professional wrestling. As a fan of professional wrestling, he's For this past year, funny story, I got dumped, and I didn't have a place to watch Monday Night Raw. And every week, I was like, you know what? I need a place that I'm going to watch. His wife was pregnant. I knew that they were not going to be going out on Monday nights. So I kind of adopted them as my place to watch professional wrestling. And every Monday night I came over, got Mike to watch professional wrestling with me because mostly I knew Mike would not. Mike didn't care at that point, you know, and now he's kind of evolved into a professional wrestling fan. Mike, tell us a little bit about what your first and earliest memories of professional wrestling were.
Well, so Aaron knows I'm a sucker for gambling. And so about 2 years ago for the Royal Rumble, he invited everybody over, big party, drew numbers. And so that was kind of the first foray into professional wrestling for me, was gambling on the Royal Rumble. And then it was, you know, for the first year, Aaron, like, you know, swooned me with pay-per-views and
That's how
not too much. And then yeah, he came over with his puppy dog eyes, needing a place to watch Raw. And mostly I'd just sit there and read Reddit, and you know, it'd be on in the background. And over the last couple months, I've definitely probably become a true fan.
Did he drop a single tear at your doorstep?
It was on a text emoji.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was like, hey, can I watch Raw at your place? Thank you. But also, I think I gave you my login to my cable account, so there's that. You now can watch Temptation Island every week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With your new found fandom of professional wrestling, and I've just been kind of like dipping my toe in. I'm like, hey, why don't you watch this match? Why don't you? When his wife had the baby, I totally he was home like all the time for 2 weeks, and he was like, oh, okay, so what are some good matches to get into? And I gave him like an insane list of professional wrestling matches because he has my network login, and he was watching some of the greatest matches. He got to watch the Hell in a Cell.
Love it.
Classic. That was good. Yeah, I appreciated that one.
Yeah, good. And he got to see a bunch of other matches. So he is more up to date on a lot of the WWE storylines and a lot of WWE wrestling. I've even made him watch some Japanese professional wrestling. I've made him watch some, we watched, I think, All In.
We did, yeah.
All together with the dick parade that they had.
The inflatable dicks.
The inflatable dicks.
Dick parade.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was really weird. But it was a good pay-per-view overall.
Yeah, the wrestling, the lack of context for the dicks was just really, really odd.
It was a little interesting. But I think Mike is becoming a professional wrestling fan. Now, my background in professional wrestling, I started watching, I can tell you the very first episode of Raw I saw, the 1-2-3 Kid stole Razor Ramon's limo. He had just beaten Razor Ramon. We had a timeshare at a hotel in Nags Head, North Carolina. And we went to the grocery store. I got those club crackers and squeezy cheese, the spray can of cheese, right? And I'm spraying it on there, and I'm flipping through the channels as a 5-year-old or however old I was. And after I saw that match and the craziness that happened, I was like, I have to start watching wrestling. So every single time I found out all of the different showings between WWF and WCW. When WCW was on, I would watch every single hour, every single minute of professional wrestling I could get my hands on. And then I found ECW one night.
Oh, boy.
And I started watching that. And I became this big wrestling nerd by the age of 12 years old.
Yes.
You know, by 12 years old, the Attitude Era hit. And I became even more into professional wrestling. A couple years went by. I kind of weaned off professional wrestling for a little bit. When I played college football, I would get together every Monday night with my teammates and we'd watch it together. I was a dumbass and got kicked out of college because of my grades. And because of that, I had to go home, but I started watching wrestling even more. I had a lot more time on my hands. I didn't have to go to practice. I didn't have to go to classes. And with that, I got into professional wrestling from a different perspective. When I started going back to school, I met this guy. His name is David. And David and I, he was a local professional wrestler. And David and I just talked about wrestling. I would go see him wrestle around Wilmington, where we, at the time, both lived. And then I went to school for video production. With the video production background, I got a job at a news station. And at that news station, I'm like, hey, why don't I start a professional wrestling show? I've got access to the equipment. I started making a professional wrestling television show. David was on board. David and I started putting together this show week after week. And for about 5 years, I had a professional wrestling show on the TV station that I worked at. We had all sorts of matches. David ended up going to the WWE, and he is now a professional wrestler for that organization. He's a champion. And just from there, I had to become a nerd about professional wrestling. So I'm glad that I have found on my rugby team, my local rugby team, 3 Division I superstars on the rugby pitch that appreciate professional wrestling with me and would like to talk about wrestling with me.
Love it.
Mike, when you were at the ripe age of about 12 or 13, you were not allowed to watch professional wrestling. Correct. Why were you not allowed to watch professional wrestling?
I mean, at the time, my parents aren't like super religious, but they didn't care for the whole Austin 316 thing. And
I wonder why.
So I had this story, again, I don't watch wrestling, but I mean, everybody's talking about it. All the kids at school, everybody's got their DX stuff, telling everybody to suck it. And my buddy gets me this poster. It's a Stone Cold Steve Austin poster.
Hell yeah.
So I had full door length and had it for like 3 weeks. My parents didn't see it until 3 weeks later, and then my dad had to sit down and tell me he didn't appreciate the way that they portrayed people and all that sort of stuff. So I actually, that's not. I mean, it's not like they weren't like super against it, but they just never really let me watch it.
So it was basically the plot of Footloose, but with professional wrestling instead of dancing, is what you're telling me.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It's all right. You know, and my mom, I think if my mom paid more attention to what was happening on Monday Night Raw at the time. My mom is super religious. Mike dropped a GD at my parents' house once, and my mom, I thought, was going to have a heart attack. I think she got she got shingles because she was worried about his soul so much.
That I had to do a lot of apologizing after that. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
In my defense, Aaron dropped 10 passes in a row. We were playing catch in the front yard, and he kept dropping the ball.
I have never...
If that doesn't deserve a GD, I don't know what.
At least one.
For a guy who played college football, he has no hands.
I was a linebacker.
All
I did was
valid GD.
It's very valid.
It's funny that you say your mom didn't pay attention to what you're watching on Raw, because my brother and I's strategy was we kept Nitro on. We would watch Nitro until Raw came on. The lesser of two evils. And then when my mother came in, we switched it. When she left, we switched it to Raw. And then when she came in the room, or my dad came in the room, we switched to Nitro.
Nice.
There was a lot more TNA on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, in that time.
Yes. And you know, I mean, like growing up, like when I was younger, WCW was the more violent of the two promotions, with WWE with the more like kid-friendly storylines. And then there was that like paradigm shift. Like, boom. There was boobs and there was blood on WWF every week, and then it became every single week. I would record on our VCR. I would record Raw so I could watch that in my bedroom and not have to like have the prying eyes of my family like judging everything that was going on. And I would watch Nitro as well. So that's how I did it.
And just to think about some of the gimmick matches that we would have on Raw.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like
Bra and panties match.
Yo, I was gonna say, panties match. You can still go and find those stuff on the internet if you're curious.
Yeah. Like, what?
Oh, I believe me. My those internet pages have been well searched by my prepubescent mind back in the day. I'm like, oh, I heard there may have been half of a nipple came out in that match.
So my brother and I used to beg my dad buy pay-per-views. We had rolled up quarters. and it'd be like Sunday afternoon. We'd go to my dad.
You selling lemonade?
Yeah, we would take everything.
Gotta get that
we would come to
pay-per-view,
my dad with like a handful of dollars and rolled up $10 rolls of quarters. Like, Dad, here's $40. Can we watch the pay-per-view? And you're like, he'd let us keep our money, of course, and he'd order it.
Yeah.
And so we had a little TV set up in our room. We were watching the pay-per-view, and this particular one, I can't remember who it was between, but it was a strip match.
Good. Yeah.
It was
you always need one of
a
those.
strip match. And we begged him all day for this pay-per-view. We're in our room watching it, and he comes to check on us. As we hear him come down the hallway, we're right in the middle of the strip match. It's heating up, it's going. And we just changed the channel real quick. We just like, oh, no, we panicked. And he's like, what's going on? I paid $39.95 for this. You're not watching it? And he grabs the remote, flips it over, and he's like, oh, what's going on?
He's like,
what's going on?
boys, move over.
That's exactly what happened.
Let me sit down.
He scooted us over, sit down on the chair, sat down between us.
Now, I don't condone what's happening here on this matchup.
And,
but I gotta watch this because I paid for this. This is my money.
Yeah, man.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
So, keeping in the discussion, professional wrestling, it's some people don't say it's a real sport or they're always that's fake, right? Yeah, but it's also interesting to watch, to see two people get into a ring and tell a story in some of the most athletic feats that you'll ever see. Take a Ricochet, for example. That guy can do whatever he wants. Anything. And if you were to tell me that guy is not a, quote, athlete, I just laugh in your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, when you have like a 400-pound dude doing a backflip off a rope, like it's pretty
time.
fucking real.
Yeah, it's Vader time at that point.
I mean, just the gym time to keep your physique and appearance alone, it makes you an athlete.
And the endurance of it, like just run around your house once and you're gonna be out of breath. These guys,
well, especially us. I mean, we're all fat asses.
Yeah,
so.
but you go 30 minutes where you're jumping up and down and doing like plyometrics and shit. Like it's crazy.
People don't understand how tiring that is.
No,
actually,
no, they don't.
It's definitely real.
And then at the very end of the match, you want someone to do a 450 splash off the top rope or something like that,
and hit it every single night, every single time perfectly, without hurting your opponent, without hurting yourself.
That man's an athlete.
There takes precision, muscle memory, and it takes everything that you need. Just because it has a storyline attached to it, I'm actually more interested in that as opposed to an MMA match that can happen. I mean, sure, MMA is fun to watch, and believe me, I can watch an MMA match and be very much into it and enjoying it. But that match could be over in 15 seconds. I paid $70 to watch something happen in 15 seconds. I know at least if I pay that money for a professional wrestling match, that match is going to go till the time limit is up.
You're going to be entertained.
You are going to get your money's worth from a professional wrestling match.
Occasionally, you might get some tits and ass.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, as a single 32-year-old male, ladies,
Aaron, it's lady. There'll be one.
Lady. And also, it's probably going to be like my mom that listens to this. So it's going to be the only person that's going to be listening to this.
Aaron, I didn't
like what you said about the ladies.
Oh, Aaron. So Mike and Cookie both have a physical therapy background. They have studied sports medicine. From the perspective of physical therapy, how safe is this fake sport?
I mean, I would say it's pretty safe in the sense, like, again, you don't hear major injuries happening. And again, how tall is a ring? Like, how far off the ground is a ring?
It's about 5 feet off the
5 feet. And then, so you have guys, and then how tall are the ropes?
So all in all, it's probably about 7 feet off the ground from the top rope. Okay. And then maybe like from, and do not take this as gospel. I'm going from experience of going to like independent matches, and I haven't, I've never been in a WWE ring, but like I'm saying like 7 to 9 feet depending on the promotion.
Yeah, so like you were speaking to earlier is like these guys hit these marks and they're doing it all the time every night. Mm-hmm. and they're managing to not get hurt, and it's like it's crazy, man.
It's a science at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like what was it? Was it the pay-per-view, or was it a Raw that like Ricochet jumped out of the ring from the top?
Oh no, that was just a weekly episode of their show. It wasn't even a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
That was just a Tuesday night.
Like he just flies through the air and lands on the ground. I mean, they catch him, but like it's crazy. And it's so the fact that they can do that and be safe about it is super impressive.
If you guys hear in the background, Mike does not have somebody in a figure 4. We actually have a baby in the background. So, we're doing this at a house. And here comes... Oh, that's Elliot. That's Elliot's music. My God.
Stone Cold Elliot.
So, as we're talking about this, we've kind of divided this up. I have assigned each man sitting in front of me a match, a specific match to watch this week. Take notes. Our very first segment here tonight, not having to do with the roundtable discussion, our very first match is going to be the Greenhorn, Big Mike over here. Mike, I have assigned to you the match of Ric Flair versus Kerry Von Erich from, I think it's Christmas night 1982. Mike, if you can, please give us a little description of what's going on. Tell me some of your match notes. I've got some notes to chime in as well, what happened during this match. I loved it. Mike, what did you think about this match?
I did not like it.
What you?
It was just so.
Mike, you're supposed to like the match that I assigned you.
No, I'm a context guy, and that's there's no context to it, so it's hard for me to kind of get into it. And I don't know the background. And so, like, I know that I watched it. All right, about to do a promo. Both promos very weak. I wasn't hyped. I wasn't anything. I was just kind of like,
Who had the weaker promo in your
Kerry Von Erich.
You know what he did have though? A gorgeous set of hair. Terrible fucking teeth. Great hair.
I wrote this down in my notes. 4 wrestlers, 1 referee, 5 mullets. Every single person involved in this match had a glorious mullet.
It was 1982.
Dude, they were amazing. And but was it Von Erich? Kerry Von Erich?
Kerry Von Erich, yeah.
He looks like a Neanderthal with great hair.
He does. He does.
Lowbrow original.
But so yeah, I mean, even Rick's. So I've never actually watched an old school Ric Flair promo,
right,
or anything. So I'm
and that was not a good Ric Flair promo.
Exactly. So I'm like, all right, this is it. Like, let's see why he's the greatest wrestler of all time. And it just was so lame going in. So I'm like, not hyped. And then I don't know anything about. So they had a guest referee, and he like
it was Michael Hayes,
and he played an intricate part of the whole thing,
right?
But I had no idea why he was there. It was fan voted, apparently.
Yeah, and I'll go into this here in a second. So Michael Hayes, at this point, Hayes turns heel in this match and kind of is the reason why Kerry Von Erich loses this matchup. So I should have picked like a more universal match for you, Mike, and I'm sorry. Any other thought points?
Well, I will say so again, it's dull going in. I'm not too excited. Find out it's a cage match. Sweet, let's go. Look at the cage, and it looked like they stole it from a little league outfield.
Yes,
I was waiting for the corrugated plastic to be on top.
Yes,
because it was like shaky and just like real. Yes. Probably had a hole in it. Yeah, like not a fence hole, but like literally just a hole somebody cut.
Yeah, they got it from my granddad's house in Varnam Town.
Yeah, so, it was terrible.
How was it held together?
Twist ties. It was so bad.
It was a bad cage.
But it ends up so like what happens is the Kerry Von Erich gets hit in the face with the door because Michael Hayes' partner slams
Terry
it
Gordon,
shut. Yeah. And that was about the most exciting part of the match to me.
Believe me, I've got a lot different notes than Mike going into this. I kind of observed it from the point of the very first minute of this match. You can tell this Kerry Von Erich, he is a heartthrob. Every single girl in the arena is screaming their hearts out.
The guys too, man. The crowd was hype.
Yeah,
I'll give them
the
that.
crowd was hype.
They were on point.
There is this old man wearing Tolbert's hat with a big ass stogie in his mouth, just smoking and blowing it in the face.
Like the classic giant '80s glasses,
Yeah.
which are now in style again.
Yeah, very much in style. Tolbert, all you had to do was wait one more year, and your whole wardrobe is back in style. Special guest Michael Hayes. This is one of my favorite notes that I wrote down. Michael Hayes hired as a special guest referee, shirtless throughout the entire match.
I was very confused.
That was
triple
that was
threat
pretty
match.
funny. Yeah, it's like you don't know he's the referee.
Right. He's just some dude in acid wash jeans, just standing there, just observing,
Just hanging out. Yeah.
just watching the match. Yeah. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
And throughout the whole match though, he's a stickler for the rules. So I don't know if I don't know if he's ref before, but he knows what's going on.
He
Well,
just
he-
looked like someone's stoned uncle.
Yeah, no, he definitely looked like your uncle, like watching a fight between you and your brother Tolbert. He's like, "Oh, hey man, no, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, you can do that. I'll allow it." Within the first 3 minutes of the match, Flair put a beautiful Flair flop in.
Oh,
Phenomenal. Mwah. Chef kiss. Mwah. 14 minutes in, Flair's bleeding like a stuck pig.
A little bladed.
Yeah, it's hard to say. At first, I'm like, is he bleeding or is it just really bad tape? So
Yeah. It's both.
HD would have did him good there because he cut himself for no reason.
Right. And, of course, any early 80s match, Flair shows his butthole about 30 minutes into the match.
I do have a note on this. Ric Flair, very white ass.
Yeah.
They don't tan their ass?
Was tanning a thing in the 80s?
I'm sure.
No, you can't.
Well, I mean, like Hulk Hogan at the
spray
time.
tan, I mean.
Yeah, no, I don't think spray tan was. So I don't think he would be spray tanning his butthole because he definitely showed that to the audience for about 5 minutes.
So bad, yeah. And he at one point he almost actually pulls Kerry's dick out too.
Yeah.
He grabs him from the front, and I'm like, whoa, what kind of match is
It
this?
sounds like a fight in Fayetteville.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, I did. That's one of my few notes.
Yeah, and Flair at this point is at the top of his game, professional wrestling wise. Maybe he hasn't quite gotten the he has his character down. He may not have his talking points down. In the next couple years, the Four Horsemen will become a thing and all that. And then he gets a little bit more swagger about his talking. I thought it was a very good match. I was very much entertained by it. It was a little slow at first, just like Mike said. It is I went into it knowing the context, so yeah, I maybe should have given that.
It was pretty refreshing though, because when he chopped, there was nobody in the crowd going woo.
Right.
It was nice. It was just kind of nobody had learned that yet.
Right. Well, of course,
But in my head, of course, I'm saying it for some reason, and I've never seen him wrestle a match.
You did. I made you watch one match of his.
True.
The Triple H and him in a cage.
Yeah,
match.
that was also a very bloody match.
Disgusting. Oh, Ric Flair,
Both of them probably.
Is he a cutter? Does he hate himself?
Oh yeah, he's a cutter. Yeah, he listens to My Chemical Romance and during his matches he cuts himself to feel.
Yeah.
Good
Anyways,
Moving on.
Tolbert's having a flashback to his childhood right there. Listening.
I did not come.
I think he like 2
or
hours
listen to
ago.
my romance.
Oh come on, Tolbert.
全日本プロレスの総本山日本武道館全日プロの頂点は鶴
So our second match of the evening goes to Cookie. Cookie, you are going to be doing a lot more Japanese style professional wrestling. And it's been fun for me because I've been able to kind of watch these matches fresh. I have not watched these matches in about 10 years, and it's fun to kind of see this style of professional wrestling. Tell me a little bit about your match. Your match is Stan Hansen versus Dr. Death Steve Williams.
And for those avid listeners out there, they're probably already like, oh God, Stan Hansen.
Yup.
And they're like, oh God, Dr. Death.
Yup.
For me, going in with a very, very green, very fresh perspective, it was eye-opening to say the least. Stan Hansen to me is just a hoss.
Yeah.
And so is Dr. Death. They both are just two hosses just going at it. Stan Hansen, let me paint a picture for you guys. He looks like he says tobacco instead of tobacco. All right, he doesn't pronounce that O. That O doesn't exist in his language. It's a tobacco. That's what he looks like. He is just swinging the cowbell when he comes in. And I thought he hit somebody with it.
Oh, they were terrified.
Oh, they looked, but they loved him.
They loved him, and yeah,
Did he fit every American stereotype that they had?
He was an angry cowboy. He was the angry cowboy, and Dr. Death was just like the wrestler, the pure artist wrestler. That's what he was. And just to see those two going at it was a slugfest. Think about it like a JBL going against a smaller Braun Strowman, essentially.
Right.
But it was just a back and forth bout, and you can just tell. I could just tell halfway through that fight when they were just chanting Hansen. I didn't realize this until the very end that they were chanting his name, but they were chanting Hansen. When he turned that elbow pad around, everyone was just ready to see that lariat out. And I didn't realize this, but he was the originator of that clothesline from hell.
Dude, that one that he gave the Dr. Death in that match is one of the most brutal clotheslines or lariats that I've ever seen. Together, these guys, they just don't give a shit about anybody except for this match. It's honestly, they're not pulling their punches.
No, not at all.
They are beating the shit out
Elbows,
of each other.
Forearms, fists. It was everything. They threw people. They threw it into the crowd. They were everywhere. They tore that house down, in my opinion. And it was just an awesome match to watch.
What did you think about the style of professional wrestler that Stan Hansen is? He maybe didn't have the go at it in American professional wrestling. Why do you think that maybe that got over as big as it did in Japan? Now, there's no right or wrong answer for this, but why do you think that they connected with that?
Well, I'm going to try and put myself in their shoes. For me, it was something that was just completely different to watch. Seeing this man, I don't think he had too many moves. It was a fist that he threw. Maybe a couple of suplexes here and there. He'll throw you into the ring post if he has to. And he's going to throw some more fists after that. And he has that lariat that's just his last go-to. And it doesn't look like you kick out from that lariat after it hits. So for me, I think that Hansen was just... I think because he was such brutal, so different, I think that was what probably won everyone over.
And you briefly spoke to me about this before we started recording. You kind of recently discovered Bruiser Brody as well. Brody. So as we kind of go through this journey of giving you these amazing and fun Japanese professional wrestling matches, while I give Mike apparently matches that he does not know what the hell's going on.
I was so angry. It was a 30-minute match. I'm sitting there bored out of my friggin' mind.
It was a long runtime, people.
I had so many questions. It was okay.
I told you, Mike, I should have watched that match with you, but then I'm sorry.
It's cool.
As you can imagine, my match was only about 10 minutes, and it was just straight action.
So I watched your guys' matches. I was like, son of a bitch, I wish I could have got these ones.
I was just like, oh, here we go. Let's do this.
well, the next episode, I've actually, if we have another episode. No, I have given Mike about a 12-minute match, and it's a very good match, and it's 12 minutes. So hopefully you'll forgive me.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Depending on who's in it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, right? So Dr. Death Steve Williams, he is known as being a legit tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Death was a professional football player, but he was also like a wrestler in college and Oklahoma, and he also played football for Oklahoma. And then I think he played for maybe one of these minor league football teams. This guy's stacked too. Like, he just looks like a dude that's gonna like.
I had a note about this. At one point, he slaps the dog piss out of Stan Hansen, I think 3 times, and I was just like, why would you do that? In my head, I'm just like, why would you slap this man? And I was like, wait a minute. Dr. Death is also huge and looks like a house. Yeah. So, he could probably get away with it, and he can fend for himself. But I was just like, oh, my God.
There was a tag team that Dr. Death had in Japan. He was with Terry Gordy as his tag team partner. They were called the Miracle Violence Connection. And they have some of the most insane matches of just them just like... They were just like high school bullies. They just came in, beat the crap out of people, got their win, got their belt, left the ring. And I'll maybe give you one of their matches coming up soon. It's very fun.
I would love to see that.
Now,
Here it is.
here it is, folks, for our final match of the evening. Tolbert, this is going to be the quote, the high spot of our evening. Tolbert, I gave you a match.
Yes, you did.
I gave you Tolbert. I don't know if I'm sorry for giving you this match, but I thought it was very fun. When I laughed
It was
when
a very
I found it.
eye-opening match.
Right.
It was very. Yeah, it was. At first, I was like, I typed it in the link, and it pulled up. I was like, really, Varnam? Really? But then I got into it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, let me tell you, the match. Don't kill me. I'm gonna say this in my southern drawl. It was El Perico ZAKARÍAS, MIJE CHAMUEL versus MICROMAN,
There we go.
El GALLITO, and El GUAPITO. So if you didn't catch it,
I love it.
all of these are little people, and it was
They are.
a little people match from CMLL, one of the big promotions in Mexico. Tolbert, when I picked it, the first 5 minutes of the match is just gratuitous TNA mixed in with shots of little people.
I wouldn't say gratuitous. It was tasteful.
They had
typical Latino style. You know,
like-
you've switched it over to Telemundo.
Right.
You know their style.
big-breasted women.
You know their
Yes.
style.
Yeah.
So they have a lineup of
Out
ring
and
girls. You know, and just like in boxing, they have ring girls.
Right.
In this league. I'm also an avid Premier League
fan of-
I love soccer.
I thought you were gonna say
love
big-breasted
TNA.
women.
No, I
Say
love
TNA.
football. And the atmosphere of the arena is just like it's like an intense soccer match. It's great. There's people cheering, air horns going off, you know, different chants going back and forth, and everyone gets really into it. And
it's respectful.
Respectful, super packed house. So he gives me a little person match, and they come out now. When you think of, it's usually billed here in the South as midget wrestling.
Right.
And you see it on flyers, you know, in bars and stuff like that. And we have these productions come through, you know, Wilmington here from time to time. They're usually in a dive bar or like some shitty music venue. And it's a bunch of drunk rednecks, like...
Just
kinda
laughing at
laughing and heckling, you know, at these athletes. This is much more respectful. Like, these guys come out to just massive cheers and chants, and everyone has their favorites, and you can tell it's just it's pure athleticism as well. These guys are fit; they go for it. It was a three-way tag team match.
Yeah, you know what, man? I was trying to watch it, and between the commentary,
Yeah, so
I
there's
could
no
not really
subtitles
tell.
or anything
Right.
for this match.
It was
all
a
in
little
Spanish.
tough to get the you got the general idea of it.
Yeah. And they also do rounds in the Luchador League, I guess. I did not know this. But these guys are fit, and they come out. There's also different sizes of little people. So one of these wrestlers is...
It's like Willow Village, the movie Willow, the
one
Village.
of these wrestlers is MICROMAN, and he's by far my favorite. And he is little. he
is a tiny man.
Very little. I'd say he is just over 2.5 feet tall, maybe. I didn't look up any stats, but he is very tiny. And he does just the cutest little bounces off.
Come on, dude.
MICROMAN, if you're listening, we apologize.
He really covers some ground. He's all these guys are very athletic. They definitely work out. They're ripped. They really go for it. And, you know, these guys all have different body types. You can tell there's some challenges when they're pulling these maneuvers. But, you know, just the effort they put into it. And, I mean, and they're climbing up to the top rope. I mean, MICROMAN does, like, halfway through the match, does a little belly splash off the top rope. I didn't mean to say little. I didn't mean to say little. He does a belly splash off the top rope.
Yeah, all right. I thought we were going to have this great, like progressive discussion about this professional wrestling match.
Then
Tolbert's like, yeah, that midget. Come on, Tolbert.
Well, I mean, it was great. A lot of action, and there's taunting going on between, because some of the guys are taller,
right,
and have like a different body type, and they're definitely the faces, not the faces, the heels, and they taunt the little guys as well, and they're like actually getting down on their knees.
But can you speak to they were dressed in chicken, like
they were
dressed.
There was two chickens.
So there's two chicken. All right. So also. It's the luchador style, the Latino and the Mexican style. So all these guys are masked up except for one.
Yeah.
I can't recall which one.
Oh, that was Guapito.
Guapito. He is not wearing a mask. He's also one of the taller guys as well. And
oh wow! I'm showing
Aaron just pulled up a picture of Microman,
Cookie, Microman, and the man with the chicken head.
So there's two dueling roosters, I would call them, luchador roosters,
right? As
well in this match, an evil rooster and a good rooster,
right? As in every mythological story from the dawn of time, there's always an evil rooster and a good rooster.
The crowd was obviously behind the good rooster. He would do this. Chicken dance?
It was like a chicken strut. I laughed out loud.
He would do like a chicken strut, but the crowd would go wild when he did it, and all chanted for him. But they
to each their own, I guess.
They swapped some blows. A lot of your typical, Mexican style luchador moves, little hurricane ranas and stuff off.
Stop saying little, man.
Over!
You keep calling them little. Their moves are moves too, man.
They are. They definitely are. I have to say though, the drop kicks are hilarious. All
right, now we've just gone into just straight comedy moves.
They're pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was fun. It's different than what you're used to.
Oh, for sure. When you signed me, I was like, really, Varnam? But just to see, I don't know, the crowd get into it and see these guys, how much they actually put into it. And like I said, different body types, different everything, man. There's maximum effort for sure through the whole match.
Please tell me Microman won the match.
Microman did win the match.
He did.
He did. Lost the first round. It's best of three. Lost the first round. Won the next two.
Yes.
One was a finishing move off the top rope.
Right.
I love it. Was it a splash?
Yeah, it was a splash. A full-size belly.
Okay, good. So, and with Tolbert, I'm trying to give him more, I wouldn't say ridiculous things, more things that you would not see every day in the world of professional wrestling. I've kind of have a plan for him. He's our resident green thumb of the group, so I kind of want him to watch these things and giggle as much as possible. I'm just trying to get a cheap laugh out of Tolbert.
Pretty much I get really high.
Right.
And watch these matches.
So, and I know this going into it. So I definitely decide that it's going to be something ridiculous. So with that being said, Tolbert, as an end to your segment, I have assigned you to come up with a haiku. That's right, an HIGHKU. That would be a different form of a haiku, which is a 575 syllable poem. Can you tell me your haiku for this matchup? And I'm going to be counting, and if you go over any syllables on any of this, we're going to have to ask you to leave.
All right.
All right, Tolbert.
I had it on my phone right here, and it just died.
Oh, great.
So this is off the
We're
spot.
going
Freestyle.
From memory, short-term memory. Which
I
do not.
Which is at a loss because he gets really high.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, let's go. All right. Masked minimal height.
Masked minimal height. That's
syllables.
5, right?
Hilarious.
That's 4.
Fully extended.
Are you talking? Is this a biographical thing?
Drop kicks.
Fully. Is that what was that?
That was 7 for the second.
7.
All right.
7 for the second.
And what's the last one?
But not as high as I.
But not as high as I. There we go, folks.
How about that?
Tolbert. Let's give a round of applause.
Yes.
Tolbert on his very first
Nice.
time. This is going to be my favorite segment here of $2 steak. Now, to kind of wrap things up, guys, any closing remarks from you guys?
I'll say this is both the best and worst podcast we've done so far.
Yeah. No. We can only go up or down from here.
Closing remarks. I didn't mean to say little so many times.
Right.
And just keep watching wrestling, y'all. Keep supporting the sport.
Yeah.
Just keep it alive, man.
Keep it
Guys,
alive.
love
spirit
it.
alive.
You
These
gotta
guys are
love
rock
it.
stars. Guys and ladies are rock stars, man. Just
I'm
keep
gonna
going.
ask the host Aaron if he can give us the people a little sneak peek into what matches we might see next week.
All right, so you want to know? Let me pull it up. I've got our matches for next week already picked out.
Let's see Mike's flexes.
Mike, I'm gonna give you you're actually gonna have the Midnight Express against the Fantastics. This match is about 12 minutes long, and it's just two tag teams going at it, right? Just having a lot of fun in and outside the ring. Cookie, you have Tiger Mask versus Kobayashi, so it's a different style of Japanese professional wrestling. Tiger Mask, very high flying, a very big influence to the Ricochets and the Matt Seidels of the world.
Wow, throwback. Okay.
Tolbert has got Buddy Rogers against Haystack Calhoun, a 650-pound wrestler. Haystack Calhoun. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting episode. If you guys liked it, please subscribe to our podcast, and we will see you guys next time on $2 Steak.